All right, welcome back. This is going to be the second part of Neanderthals. And guys, I think I'm just basically briefly going over the information, but it's still a lot of information. And I'm giving you some of the insights that Jack Cuozzo stated in his book, Buried Alive. It's a good book. Now, Jack Cuozzo died in 2017. He's with the Lord now. But this is a pretty good thick book, guys. And so a lot of good information in this thing. And so if you really want a good read, get this book here. And so, but Jack Cuozzo, just to kind of refresh you from the last video, he's seen evidence where humans were maturing at a much slower rate than they do now. And so on. So that would match more of the long ages that were talked about in the Bible back in the book of Genesis. And so now, after the flood, they were still living, good long ages of hundreds of years. But right around the time of Peleg, ages started dropping about in half. Until now, you're lucky if you live 100 years, you lived a full life. But there were people living way past that. Like Jacob lived 147 years when he died. And so, another almost 50 years past what, if you're living 100 years, I mean, what could you accomplish in nearly 50 years? And so, but, the evidence is what they're showing in the bone structure, more of a pronounced brow ridges in the jaws, the shape of the head in general, which the skull, what Dr. Cuozzo was saying, the skull never stops growing. It never stops growing. Now, if you'll notice on the screen here, this is, we're going to go to Brunicle Cave, and look at some things there. It says archaeologists have discovered circles of carefully placed stalagmites in Brunicle Cave in southwestern France that date from the time Neanderthals lived in Europe. According to the findings, several Neanderthals broke off nearly 400 stalagmite fragments, totaling nearly 2 tons, from the floor of the cave, placing them in circles with walls up to 20 inches high, tall in places. And these are some of those circles there, if you can see them. And so here's another picture of it. And going on, it says, no one can say the purpose of these circles, but they seem to have had a symbolic function, since no evidence of daily life was found. Clearly, building these circles was no small task. They were found deep in the cave where no sunlight could reach and people wouldn't normally live. The stalagmites show signs of charring, indicating man-made fires. It shows that prehistoric men frequented the deep underground world in total darkness long before they began to paint paint of cave walls. And this is a French archaeologist. And so, again, using terminology and evolutionary type terms when you start talking about prehistoric. Really, there's nothing truly prehistoric. And so, going on though, burnt bones were also found in the depths of Brunicle, which meant whoever was in there cooked their food. However, burning fires in a cave over 300 meters, which is 984 feet, from the surface would fill the cave with smoke and deplete all the available oxygen, unless it were vented. The archaeologists did not provide any evidence to prove that the cave had a source of air at these great depths. Cooked mammoth steaks, therefore, could have been brought into the dark depths of the cave for non-candlelight aromatic dinners for two. And so a little bit of humor there. Ruffignac Cave. Ruffignac Cave, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I did the best I could. It's called the Cave of 100 Mammoths. It is about 7 kilometers north of Les Izzy's, and according to the official guidebook, it runs back for 7 miles. Engravings and drawings are found all over the cave. I wonder how dark it was at 7 miles down when the artist went in many years ago when we went through this cave on a little open tourist train. He says, it was so cold at its depths that I saw some real ice sitting on a ledge over numerous mammoth drawings. When I saw the mammoth drawings and the ice together, my first thought was that we were in an enormous ancient meat locker. I think mammoth meat would have stored pretty well, if not frozen, in some locations in the meat locker. It could also have served as a refrigerator for our ancient relatives. And so that was Jack Cuozzo. Now, going on, this Anne Civiking, she stated, we know virtually nothing about the use of the deep caves, except that use hardly appears to have been made of them at all. There are no traces of big fires to light the galleries by, no blackening smoke or soot stains on the roof, and almost no possessions left lying about. Could the artist in these caves possibly had better eyesight than modern man, perhaps with some infrared type of capability? That's a question that he's stating there, because they were going deep into these caves with hardly, if at all, any charring at all. Were they able to see, at nighttime? Now, if you want to learn more about Neanderthal dental features, showing we are maturing much faster than people did in the past, again, check out this wonderful book, awesome book, Buried Alive. They may have changed the front of it there. Seems like they may have. I've had this book for a long time, and so awesome book. And what it means is, it doesn't mean that these people were buried alive. It just means that the evidence was buried alive. And so is what he's stating there. And so Neanderthal precision grip. Neanderthal hand bones were much more thicker and chunkier than ours, and believed to not have had the ability for fine detailed activities, using a precision grip using the thumb and finger, but instead used a power grip. Now what they're talking about is this right here. You got a precision grip on the right-hand side and then a power grip on the left-hand side. So they believe the Neanderthals had more of a power grip on the left-hand side. Catherine Harvadi stated of the University of Tübingen in Germany, studied the enthesis, the points on the bones where muscles were attached. And so if you'll notice the colored areas there, that's what she studied. The palm side of the hand, and then you got the back side of the hand. That's what she's talking about there. And this is what she's saying. A precision grip uses different sets of muscles than a power grip does. And those muscles that get used more develop a larger enthesis. And so what she had found is our study reconciles the archaeological with the anatomical evidence. It was previously proposed that Neanderthals relied on force for their manual activities, but the perception was at odds with mounting archaeological evidence for sophisticated cultural behavior of Neanderthals. And so, again, these are shown to be nothing more, guys, than humans, just regular humans that lived a long time. Other evidence. Let's look at some other evidence. Neanderthals and Homo sapiens used identical Nubian technology. Now, Nubian is a method, the Levolis method was a stone flaking technique, or creating stone tools by first striking flakes off or around the edges. So like you see in here, that's what they're talking about. Going on, using 3D models of the ear structure of Homo sapiens and Neanderthals were made by using CT scans. They were then tested using auditory software to calculate the hearing ability of up to 5, I guess that's kilohertz, is what that's supposed to be. And what they stated here is Neanderthals possessed a communication system that was as complex and efficient as modern human speech. Modern human speech. So there's some more evidence for you there. And here's some more extra notes about Neanderthals. They used aspirin, popular bark, and penicillin mold. Their behavior and their diet looks a lot more sophisticated and a lot more like us in many ways. Quote from Professor Alan Cooper, director of the University of Adelaide's Australian Centre for Ancient DNA. They made their own jewelry. In the Grotto de Rene, a cave in central France, anthropologists found tiny necklace beads along with delicate bone tools amid Neanderthal fossils. Recent examination of Neanderthal artifacts discovered in an Italian cave show Neanderthals were clam divers. Researchers found clam shells that were shaped into cutting and scraping tools. Some of these shells were weathered and dull from tumbling in their surf after the animals died, but others were smooth and shiny, indicating they were harvested while the clams were still alive. They needed to know how to find clams buried on the seafloor and how to dive to retrieve them. They had to observe the clams' behavior and then leave their own comfort zone to gather them from underwater. In Iraq and Greece, scientists unearthed charred food remains and dating back to Neanderthal times. Evolutionists believe early humans ate a simplistic diet of mostly meat, but the findings reveal complex meals that included plants and nuts. Elephant bones showing signs of butchery were found in Germany, revealing that Neanderthals hunted large animals, a job that required complex collaboration. According to scientists, cooperative work was previously thought to be unique to modern humans. Researchers at Eberhard Karls University of Tübingen and colleagues in Germany have taken a closer look at the birch tar pitch used to affix superglue. Neanderthal tools found a much more complex technique for creating the adhesive than previously considered. Neanderthals who made the German birch tar used the most efficient method with a stepwise oxygen-restricted distillation process of underground heating to extract the synthetic adhesive. So get that. Using Neanderthal DNA available on public databases, it was found that it contained clusters of genes associated with speed. Researchers realized this when they analyzed modern athletes' alleles, differing versions of various genes. They found the same allele frequencies in Neanderthal DNA that are associated with the ability for powered bursts of speed. Excuse me. Typically found in modern humans competing in 100-meter sprint races. Remnants of Neanderthal genomes survive in every modern human population studied to date. DNA shows that Neanderthals and modern humans are 99.7% similar. It also shows substantial genetic intermingling between them. And these are some other little short evidences. False reconstruction, totally false. And that's where they were. And then you got the references there, guys, if you guys want to read. I'm just reading you what they have. The false reconstruction is what they're saying about these evolutionists when they're talking about how they're putting together these Neanderthals to look more like apes. Unquestionably, Homo sapien, which is modern man, and that's from Richard Leakey. Burial flowers, carefully placed around the body, Richard Leakey. And so you guys can check out the references. Neanderthal flute matches notes we use today. And so that's amazing. That's from Scientific American, September 1997, and Science, May 1997, page 203. Amount of diversity in DNA between Neanderthals and living humans is not exceptional, uncommon, or unusual. And that's from Scientific American, January 1998. Neanderthal protein sequence was the same as modern humans. Neanderthals walked upright just like the humans of today. Neanderthals deliberately buried their dead. Going on, paleontologists discovered soot in a South African cave, indicating that a supposedly non-human species cooked with fire hundreds of thousands of years before humans. Archaeologists in the Philippines discovered markings on stone tools suggesting that rope making occurred thousands of years earlier than previously thought. DNA evidence shows that the Denisovans are just a people group that inhabited continental Asia and Oceania. The DNA evidence from the initial find showed that Denisovans interbred with modern humans. It has long been known from DNA that Neanderthals did so also. DNA from Neanderthal Denisovan offspring has been found showing all three interbred together, showing a large human family. Human family. Going on. Stone tools recently discovered in Kenya were allegedly made too early to have been used by Homo species. Archaeologists conclude that technology like this must have helped our genus evolve. Researchers have been studying what appeared to be thousands of non-figurative or abstract marks in Paleolithic cave art. In a study published in Cambridge Archaeology Journal, a team of scholars suggest that seemingly abstract tools and dots and lines, when positioned near animals' imagery, actually represent sophisticated writing system that explains early humans' understanding of the mating and birthing seasons of important local species. Looking at the total number of marks, either dots or lines, found in sequences across hundreds of caves, the researchers discovered that none of the series contained more than 13 marks, consistent with the 13 lunar months in each year. We hypothesize that sequences are conveying information about their associated animal taxa in units of months. With its obvious signals of the end of winter and corresponding faunal migrations to breeding grounds, would have provided obvious, if regionally different, point of origin for the lunar calendar. And these are some of those marks there. If you'll notice that yellow circle, it says a 21,500-year-old that's secular dating, guys, cave painting of an extinct cattle species called the auroch. This is located in the Lascaux caves in France. Dots like these are what has become a debate between researchers. And here's some more markings here. 17,000-year-old secular dating of engraved salmon from Pindo Cave in Asturias, Spain. And pretty good drawing there. And here's another one, 23,000-year-old secular dating painting showing 4 dots with red ochre drawing of an auroch in Las Pasiga Cave in Cantabria, Spain. And non-figurative without shape, signs dating 15,000-year-old, again, secular dating, that the hunter-gatherers drew, located in this cave here, Neaux Cave in French Pyrenees. And again, dots, you see those dots there. Now, those dots mean something. They think it's more of a calendar type. And so, again, guys, it's really wild when you take what Dr. Cuozzo's found about us aging slower, and then you look at Dr. Sanford here, what he's found. Great book. You guys have heard me mention him many, many, many times in the past. Genetic entropy and the mystery of the genome, which is genetic degeneration, is what that word means. Entropy, it means degeneration, and how we are maturing much faster and we are accumulating at a faster rate um, uh, um, mutations, and we're aging faster. We're maturing much faster, and what Dr. Sanford is stating is that that each generation being born is worse off genetically than the previous generation, and so it really is amazing, guys. And so and the that's a really good book if you guys want to check it out. But what he states here is the consensus among human geneticists is that at present, the human race is degenerating genetically due to rapid mutation accumulation and relaxed natural selection pressure. These geneticists realize that there is presently a net accumulation of mutations in the population, which is occurring at a much higher rate than was previously thought possible. Geneticists widely agree that essentially all of these mutations are either neutral or deleterious. Deleterious meaning that they're harmful. If any are beneficial, they are considered so rare as to be entirely excluded from consideration. And so, again, if we were on this planet as long as what the evolutionists say we were, 1.8 to 5.6 million years, then we should be extinct. So one of the numbers that I read is that if we were on this planet 50,000 years, we would be extinct. And so at the rate we are accumulating mutations. And so, but guys, that's it. That's all that I have on Neanderthals. I hope it wasn't as confusing. I just had a whole bunch of information. And so if you want to check out those references to learn more, so be it. And so the whole point in that wasn't to get real detailed about that and to debate the whole topic. It was just to show you what researchers have found, secular and Christian, from secular and Christian sources. And so it seems that the Neanderthals had abilities that we don't have now. One is that they were much stronger, way much stronger. They matured much slower than we do now. Their eyesight was better, and they had physical abilities that most of us don't have. They were good for short bursts of speed. They could run extremely fast in short bursts. And so who knows everything that they were able to do. And so all of the evidences that I showed you with them being in the caves and stuff, it showed that they were in there looking around with hardly any light at all. I mean, especially the deeper they went in there, because it showed that there wasn't much fire, not much soot, on the walls and stuff. So they were like, why were they down in here? What were they doing? And so some of the cave paintings and stuff like that, they were able to see some of that. And so in some of the caves were so cold, they believed that it's possible that they used it as like a big refrigerator or a freezer. And so, and the bones in their hands and stuff, where the muscles would have attached being much thicker, they showed that they did precise, they had a precise grip. And so, we tend to use the name Neanderthal to mean somebody that's stupid and clumpy and, clunky and not able to do much. Well, when you look at the evidence that these people have, and some of the abilities that they have, somebody calling you a Neanderthal may be a big compliment. And so, I'm sure these individuals would have stuck out in a crowd, especially living as long as they did, because of their bone structure, in the brow ridges and in the jaws. And so, but at any rate, that's everything that I have on the Neanderthals at the moment. And so it just seems like, I'm seeing an article come up with something new that they've been able to discover about Neanderthals, but they're just regular humans, guys. They're just humans that lived a long time and matured slower. And so there's nothing in the Bible. There is no cavemen. No cavemen. We did not evolve from apes. And so we did not evolve from apes. That goes completely contrary to the creation message mentioned in the book of Genesis. It's simple as that. It didn't happen. There's no proof of it whatsoever, and it didn't happen. The Bible says it didn't happen. It didn't happen. God created us special. The animals, the chimpanzees, and the apes, that were a special creation, and we were a special creation. We're different, completely two different organisms. And so, but at any rate, you guys, that is it. And at the end of this video here, this is the last presentation video I have of evidences. And so, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't seen any of my other videos, check them out, guys. I've got hundreds of videos. I've got hundreds of them. And so about every topic you can think of. And so, and I'm not saying I'm an expert on any of the things that I present. I'm not. I'm really not. I just did a lot of research as far as in studying it through nearly 30 years of having an interest in this. And so, but you guys take care. I'm hoping to just let all these videos remain up. I don't ever intend on taking any of them down. And I'm going to let them stay up as long as the platforms allow them to stay up. And so, but you guys take care. I love you. Hope the Lord blesses you real good. Bye-bye.